Hello and welcome to a new episode of Africa Today. First, we're going to talk about, in our episode today, we're going to shed the light on the security situation in Somalia. But let's start off with this report about the Egyptian tourism as it is recovering. The number of tourists are increasing. The improvement of noticeable, especially in the culture, tourism, Cairo, Luxor and Aswan. And we have more about the figures of the increasement of tourism in the following report. Egypt's tourism industry recovers as the number of tourists increase. The sector has been ravaged by political instability and the attack on the Russian plane in the Sinai in 2015. The thrill of the country, the pyramids and the famous ancient sites of the Nile have gone through some remarkable changes since October. It is mainly due to Chinese, Japanese and Ukrainian tourists, while Westerners remain cautious. The attack was claimed by Daesh militant group. 224 people on board were reported dead. Meanwhile, Russia suspended all its flights to Egypt and British aircrafts going to Sharm el-Sheikh. The number of tourists had fallen to 5.3 million in 2016 compared to 9.3 million the previous year, according to the spokesman of the Ministry of Tourism. But in December 2016, the number of tourists visiting Egypt reached 551,600 against 444,000 a year earlier, according to the Statistics Bureau. The number of reservations between October and January is also higher in comparison with the same period a year ago. This improvement is noticeable especially in the culture, tourism, Cairo, Luxor and Aswan, according to the owner of a travel agency. In China, the largest public travel agency confirms a 58% increase in the number of tourists to Egypt in 2016. And in Japan, the HIS travel agency also confirmed the number of tourists to Egypt has increased 4 to 5 times between 2015 and 2016. In 2010, Egypt has recovered of 14.7 million passengers. In a country going through one of the worst economic crises in its history, with record inflation and high unemployment, the return of tourism bonanza would be welcome. Before the air tragedy, 62% of tourists traveling by plane to Sharm el-Sheikh came from these two countries. In early February, 4 Egyptian countries, Denmark, Sweden, Norway and Finland, lifted travel restrictions imposed on the Sinai Peninsula. Moving to Sudan, where the UN humanitarian coordinator said that the financial aid for the humanitarian aid there in Sudan is expected to reduce this year despite a review of US sanctions. And we have more about this issue in the following report. Almost 500 migrants forced their way into Spanish territory in North Africa early Friday by breaking through gates into a 20-foot-high fence that separates Morocco from Spain's enclave. The Ceuta regional government gave the figures, with officials saying it was believed to be the biggest border invasion in recent years. A Ceuta government official said that some 700 migrants attempted to smash through several gates simultaneously at about 6 a.m. He refused to be identified. Migrants spray on the streets after storming a fence to enter the Spanish enclave. He said 598 migrants made it into Spanish territory, with 2 hospitalized due to injuries they sustained in the assault. He said 11 Spanish police were also hurt. A civil guard spokesman said police clashed with migrants at the Tajural area of the fence. He declined to disclose his identity. At least 10 members of Morocco's armed forces were also injured. More than 30 migrants were treated at a migrant center for bone fractures and other injuries. Some were also cut trying to scale the fence, which is stopped with barbed wire. According to the civil guard, a surveillance camera showed hundreds of people approaching the fence using tools and clubs to break one of the gates. Moving to Nigeria, where almost 500 migrants forced their way into the Spanish territory in North Africa on Friday, breaking through the gates. And we have more about this in the following report. Welcome back, and focusing on the security situation in Somalia, in the Black African continent. We are joined in the studio by Mr. Hisham Al-Ramli, human resources expert. Hello, sir, and welcome to our show.
Hello, how are you?
Sir, now what's happening in Somalia? The latest thing happened from a few days ago, the famine that happened there.
Yeah.
And now we are talking about the security situation in Somalia. So what's going on in this country so far?
It is a piece of the same game, the chess game, that has been manipulating the poor countries. Africa is one of the wealthiest continent on earth. In the last century, it was attacked by the colonization, by army. Now they are doing another strategy, is to make the people, the population, fighting themselves, to divide them and to have always a kind of troubles and to exploit their wealth and to manipulate them and to be on land in order to use this country on a further plan in the future.
What kind of plan they would use the country in?
It has been clear to the whole world that there is a setup to divide our countries and Arab countries, African countries, to get the wealth of it and to make always kind of trouble and fighting to execute a certain strategy or plan on the long future. For example, Somalia is a very nice country. It's a tiny population. They are on the Red Sea. It will be used someday to make a platform there, export terrorism to another part of the world so they can manipulate all these countries.
Sir, how far the security situation and all the problems facing Somalia can affect the economic level there?
It is already affected. The population turned to be pirates in the sea, terrorists on the land, fighting and killing each other. What is worse than this? And I think that the African countries should help them and should put new policies to stop this and to interfere, to really enhance this country or any other country. You have seen what is going in Syria, in Iraq. It is the same plan. They are playing chess with countries by manipulating the heads and making terrorism and extremists to fight each other. They don't send any more army or people to colonize. They are economically colonized, they are politically colonized, and they are totally manipulated.
Sir, when you listen to the statement of the former administration of U.S. administration, of course, of Barack Obama, he was giving certain attention to the Black continent, and he said many times that he did not make use of this Black continent and he did not give much care and attention to its people. But at the same time, on the ground, you find the opposite. You find there is the starvation is still going on, the terrorism is still going on, and there is many problems facing this continent. So why they are saying these statements and at the same time they're not helping enough?
Because politics is always fake. He said so many things, so many things. The African continent was divided by European countries 100 years ago. This is French, this is British, this is Dutch, this is Spanish, and by the end they took all the wealth at the time. Now the kind of interference is more economically. So he is using the ignorance and the poverty to interfere inside and to make his needs or to achieve his aims. Somalia is a very good base for the Red Sea. It will be used, believe me or not, someday. So they are trying to weaken this population to take the maximum after that. We should help each other. We are African. The African continent is a very wealthy. I have been.
It's a virgin continent.
It's a virgin country, and I had the chance to visit most of the African countries. The people are very kind, but you have so many things that has been cultivated and like Trojan horse, from corruption, from ignorance, for the future plan to exploit these people. We need to help each other.
But why the people of Africa are not supporting themselves? Why they are not against what's happening from their governments? They are still in ignorance, they are still in poverty, they are still suffer from the famine, from starvation, from many problems surrounding them. Where are these people?
Corruption. Corruption was the main key. When you find a country like Zaire, for example, or it is Congo, Kinshasa, it owns 60%, 70% of the copper in the world. It owns diamonds. The people who came there, I think the Belgians, they set up a system to bring corruption in its maximum way and to bring ignorance in its maximum way in order to exploit this wealth. Till now, it is not totally exploited. The people had freed themselves, but still the ignorance and the poverty and the corruption is spoiling any system to be put again. It needs a solidarity from the whole people of Africa to renew their system, to enhance the schools. The culture is very important. When you know the value of your country, you will protect it. I don't mean by arm, I mean by culture and by educating the people.
Mm-hmm. When you see that happened in Gambia recently by Yahya Jammeh, when he wanted to continue to be in charge and in power, and we saw how the opposition united and stood against him and got their own president. Now he is the president, and we saw also how the international community supported Gambia and even the neighboring countries and even the ECOWAS. They said they want to send their own military to take or to arrest Yahya Jammeh. So what about the other neighboring countries when they saw such an example, what happened in Gambia, and they stood against this dictatorship?
It is always when you don't have cultured people. It is we always fall in the conflict of definition and expectations. Mm-hmm. Gambia is a country within another country. It is in Senegal. Mm-hmm. The Senegal people, they had a president called Léopold Senghor. I met him twice. This guy was a poet, and he loved culture. So he enhanced the schools. When you go to Senegal, you will find a very cultured people, extremely cultured. This makes the country go ahead. But when you hear, for example, about a revolution and you don't know the definition of democracy, because it is a fake word, it is not well defined, you will get very wrong ideas, you will get some fake attacks, fake revolution for nothing. Mm-hmm. The culture is the main key. When you have culture, you will attack, you will not attack, you will destroy corruption, you will destroy your enemies by your culture. Mm-hmm. This is the big problem in Africa. Mm-hmm. The corruption is taking all and manipulating the people, and the people want only to live. Mm-hmm. But when they are cultured and they know and they have a vision, the way is completely different.
Okay, sir, how far Egypt can help an African country like Somalia in its troubles, and are we ready to help Somalia?
Of course we are very ready, but it needs a real well-to-do. We have to go and bring them aid to make the country stand again, then to help them in putting the system.
But they take aid from most of the European countries, everywhere.
Aids are taken by corruption. Mm-hmm. It is eaten by corruption. Mm-hmm. We have to help them really to bring them the schools again, the water again. There are so many technology now to bring water from many ways. So we need to be there. We had a very strong company called yes, it was all over Africa. It was helping them in food and even politically and giving them advice. We are a strong country. Egypt is a very strong country.
And even we send Al-Azhar students.
Exactly, I saw them there.
Teachers there.
Yes, to give them the right track. I was a child when I saw them there. So we need to regain this because we have one advantage in front of all the world. We are African, and the African people love them, love Egypt, and love our communication. But you have to be very accurate and very strong with them and give them all help they are in for. And to put our company there, again, not company, our country there, in the heart of these countries, and to help them really.
Well, Mr. Hisham Ramli, human resources expert, thank you very much for joining us, and welcome once again to Africa.
Thank you. Thank you.
And by this we come to the end of our episode. I'm Dina Mamdouh. Thank you for watching.